He's the mayor of the city of Milwaukee. He's a young man. Give him a chance. I only complain about things that I care about. What I want you to do is pretend like I'm in St. Louis. And all I'm asking the mayor and the common council president and the common council, show me.
Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio in Milwaukee, here's Dr. Ken Harris.
You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. We're live from the American Family Insurance Studio in Radio City. You can check out this broadcast live on LinkedIn and on YouTube. So you can find it and check it out and go from there. So I've been thinking again. I have 5 things I want to share with you about you. And it's based on something I went through recently. And I wanted to let people know what I thought about it. All right. So, number one of the most important things you need to do is to pick your battles. Not everything is worth fighting over. Not everything is worth fighting about. Not everything or anyone is worth major disruptions in your life. So that's number one. Number two, if you want to be successful, you're going to have to create your own network, right? You're going to have to find, if you're just first out of school, if you just graduate from high school, right? Eventually, you're going to have to do things like pay taxes. Eventually, you're going to have to do things like get a job, buy a house, buy a car. And you want to have people in your network that are going to be able to assist you. And so one way to do that is to create your network. Find somebody that does taxes, preferably a CPA who's on the cheaper side for people who are just doing it, so that you can start to get an understanding of what it takes. So as you grow, maybe start your own business, have a friend who graduated from law school who's new that could be your lawyer, that you can kind of, have them on your side. Find somebody that does investments. My suggestion is find someone that can do an investment plan, who can then teach you and coach you on how to use the plan, put the plan in motion, where to invest, how to learn about stocks and bonds and mutual funds and insurance and all that stuff, right? The financial industry. Those are like the 3 people. Then you need somebody that's just there, right? You need about 3 or 4 people you meet with at least 3 times a year, just to kind of see if you're on the right track and seeing what you're doing. Number 3, you need to keep your word. If you say you're going to be somewhere, be there. If you say you're not going to be there, don't show up later. Be on time, those types of things. Just keep your word. Number 4, one other thing this is something to remember. Now, some of the other things is something you have to do. Pick your battles. Create your own network, keep your word. But these things I want you to think about, right? They're more intellectual. Number 4, can't count, public school math. Number 4, no one looks like what they've been through. Don't forget that. Just because you see the homeless person on the street, they might be a millionaire. Just because you see the person in a shirt, tie, jacket, driving a nice car, doesn't mean they spend some time in jail. On average, number 4, no one looks like what they've been through. I don't look like I grew up on welfare, but I did. I don't look like I came from a single parent home, but I did. I don't look like I had to go through the issues of not having a father and mother put me in Boy Scout. I don't look like I went through that. Why is that? Because no one looks like what they've been through. And then number 5, you never know how close you are to victory. So how do I get all this stuff done? How do I figure out how to get to the end, right? That winning goal. Because remember, you can change plans, but you can't change your goal. If you're trying to make $1 million, there are multiple plans on how to make $1 million. Changing your plan doesn't mean you change your goal. You just go about it in a different way. But in order to do those things, right, you have to speak a word actually over yourself. Like you have to talk to yourself. You have to plan for yourself. You have to tell yourself, this is what my goal is. This is what I'm going to do. Speak that word over you. I am going to be, I will be, I am a. You also have to speak victory during the test, because getting to your goal, your plan may take you up on a path that you may not necessarily have a good time on. But in the end, if you reach your goal, that's all that matters. You have to speak victory during the test. I remember when I was working on my PhD, and you get to a point when you're working on a PhD where you're doing original research, where there is nothing else to do, no one else can do it, there is nowhere else to go but to sit down and write. And I remember at the time, this is 2009, 2010, the Starbucks on Highway 100 south of Blue Mound was the only Starbucks that was open until 4 a.m. It closed for an hour and opened back up at 5. I remember writing during those last days before my paper was due to my committee. I literally went there. I took vacation off of the Milwaukee Police Department, went on vacation, and took like 4 days of, I'll let you figure it out, the 3 S's, and actually, you know what that is, do you? You know that, you know that, okay. And actually worked at that Starbucks. Like, which one was open this hour? I would go there, and they were, because I didn't want to sit in the same 1 hour, because they'd be like, "What's wrong with them? And so I went to different Starbucks until I finished my paper, because nobody can do it but you. If you don't finish writing, you're it. But during that test, I had to speak victory. I had to write as if I was already done, and I'm already in my defense and getting it done. I also had to pat myself on the back. Ain't nobody else gonna pat you on the back. But perhaps one of the most excruciating things was that you had to take the journey alone. Your life is your journey, whether you're married, not married, house full of kids or not. Your journey, you have to take it alone. That's the only way you're gonna make it. And going through those things in life, looking back, having the experience, having the knowledge, having the intellect. Somebody asked me a question today in a class. They said, would you? I said something to them, and they, of course, being a generation or 2 less than me, oh, you're just a hater. And I said, well, why am I a hater? Because I'm younger than you. And I said, I wouldn't want to be your age. Would you want to be your age, or would you want to be my age with the same intellect and knowledge that you have now? And I said, to be honest with you, no, I wouldn't want to be your age. I would not want to go through growing up from your age, 1920 till now, again, ever in my life. Well, why wouldn't you want to do that? Because the experience I have makes life significantly easier for me. There are things that come easier. Like that thing called a journey. You have to take your journeys alone. People can accompany you, but the journey itself is alone. And in all that, I had to just realize that as you go through life, the only real advice I could give you that I think is sound this week, well, I mean, other than moving out the city of Milwaukee, that I talked about yesterday. But anyway, the only sound advice I can give you is remember, sometimes you just have to encourage yourself.
And that is Dr. Ken's Truth on the new 1017 The Truth.
This is 1017 The Truth's Melanie Ricks, and I am Milwaukee. I love Milwaukee so much.